Welcome back. We're going to talk about chapter 2 today. Chapter 2 is a great chapter, in my opinion, anyway, because it talks about identity. And culturally, your identity is based on many different things. Where does life begin? Some say birth, some say conception. I'm not going to get into that argument. You have your own personal thoughts on it. That's fine. There is a joke that I like. A guy was trying to figure out when life began, so he asked a Catholic priest, and he said at conception. He said, okay, he wanted a little more research, and he said, well, he asked a pastor, and they said at birth. And now he had conflicting ideas, so he asked a rabbi, and the rabbi, he said, when does life begin? And the rabbi said, when the children leave home. As a parent and grandparent, I can definitely understand the rabbi's perspective. But culturally, it's culturally specific. Arunta in Central Australia is different than Guyana in Africa. It's different in the United States. In Korea, for example, they don't celebrate until the 100th day after a child's birth because it's a very difficult time. And many years ago, many children died in that first 100 days. If the child was sick at that time, they just ignore that day and don't announce it, no party or nothing. Because if you do otherwise, they consider it bad luck. So who is this person? Who are you? Who am I? Many of you may have gotten an email from me, and it says that it's my theory on identity, and I say that we're like a rubber band ball. If you take a rubber band ball and you add rubber bands to it, every rubber band changes the dimension of the ball and the density and how it reacts to outside stimulus. I have traveled the world, much different than my siblings. I see many things different than they do because I've had more rubber bands, more experiences, more cultural experiences than they have. It's if you have somebody that grows up as a single child in a small community, and the only person that he interacts with is mom and dad, he's going to have a different perspective than somebody that grew up in the city with 5 or 6 siblings. So we are created by our culture, and our identity is created by that. Now, I have I was a son and a sibling, a brother, and then I was a soldier, and then I got married, so then I was a husband, and then I got children, and so then I was a father, and then I became blind, so then I became a blind husband, a blind father, a blind soldier. That adjective was placed on there, and it changed my identity to many other people. They see me walking with a cane, they think I'm a poor blind guy. They don't know me, but that's one part of my identity that they focus on. People often show their identity how they dress. If you wear a cross, most people will say you're a Christian. If you wear a Star of David, most people will say that you're Jewish. So we tell other people how we are, who we are, by what we do and what we wear, and many of them make assumptions that are wrong. Now, there's different influences we have in our life. One of them, for example, is particular others. That's your immediate family. They have a direct definition. They influence our lives in many ways that we don't even realize. The gender appropriate behavior, is reinforced by dad or mom. Boys don't cry. Girls wear pink. Boys wear blue. It's all created by these particular others in our lives. And we use social comparison to compare ourselves. I always wanted to be like my dad. I wanted to be a soldier. My dad was a soldier. He was my hero. So my appraisal of myself was, how he, how I believed I looked in his eyes. And the problem with labels is they remain long after they have changed. You know, I am still my mama's little boy. Mama will be 90 on Monday, August 31st. But I'm still her little boy, and I'm still afraid of her. We have identity scripts, and they define roles and how we should act. You know, men should be masculine and not show emotion. We have different attachment styles. How do we approach relationships? Some people have a secure attachment style. They have a positive sense of self-worth. I'm okay. Some people are fearful. You know, I know this young lady that she always has to be in a relationship. She's afraid of being unworthy. She feels she's unworthy of love, and she's afraid of being alone. So she goes from bad relationship to bad relationship to bad relationship strictly because she feels unworthy. And it doesn't work out because she doesn't believe in herself enough. We have some people that are dismissive. They dismiss others as unworthy. Many of the guys that she hooks up with, you know, don't treat her as an equal, and basically she's just there to please them, and when she doesn't, then they're gone. We have anxious and ambivalent people that a lot of times they think they're the problem. Oh, it's my fault. It's always my fault. You know, he did this, but you know, I shouldn't have done so and so. There's a standpoint cartoon in the text that I love. You know, this one guy says, we need to get rid of these illegal aliens. And the Native American says, fine, I'll help you pack. It depends on where you come from as your standpoint. Standpoint theory basically says you see the world the way you do because of all the things that have happened to you in the process. I took a class and they made me evaluate myself using the standpoint theory. And it's the first time I ever did a self-evaluation. And looked at culture and race and gender and sexual orientation, everything that defined me. And then I had to make a presentation. That's where I first thought about the rubber band ball. But when I made my presentation, I talked about running Pikes Peak Ascent. It's a half marathon. And I ran it. I was much younger then. And when we started, there was like thousands of people around me. And every time somebody moved, I kind of moved. It's like when you're a little bitty kid, there's so much around you that it's all new to you. And as the groups thinned out, there was less and less people that were having an effect on me. And I would chat with some people along the way, which gave me some positive support. The water stations, we would talk to people, and I had fewer and fewer people that were actually affecting me until I finished when I got to the top. And when I got to the top and I looked back and I saw what I had done, I was amazed. And the same when I looked at my life using the standpoint theory, I was amazed at how many people had such a great effect on me that I never really realized, and why I'm the way I am in a lot of different situations. Now, when we present and negotiate identity all the time, you know, I try to come across as a confident, well-dressed, articulate person, and that's the face I'm putting on, a mask, and we have one for each situation. You know, when I'm just talking with my spouse, I'm much more relaxed. When my children were younger and I had to be the authoritarian, you know, I had a different face for that situation because I wanted them to see a different side of me. Um, we have impression management, where we use communication to sell whatever face we happen to have on at the time. In different cultures, we have a clash sometimes. There's a collectivist culture and an individualistic culture. Now, when I was going through school, they explained these as, you know, Asian is collectivist and Western is individualistic. And I don't like using such broad strokes, to be honest with you, but it does make some sense. In most Asian countries, it's about the family. You know, you don't. I told you about a professor that wanted me to use his first name because his culture said that I'm older than him. Um, in collectivistic cultures, the family comes first. In individualistic cultures, the person comes first. If you listen to a lot of people from the West, shall we say, it's like I did this and I did that and I did the other, and you know that's okay. But you know, I spent 20 years in the army, and to me, 20 years in the army was more collectivist. We had a mission to do, and we all depended on one another. It wasn't an I thing; it was an us thing. So sometimes you run into these cultural clashes between individualistic and collectivistic cultural, or people that have those cultural leanings. Social media is something that was non-existent when I was young. I'm not going to lie about it. I mentioned in one of my classes that I had the first email address, one of the first 16 email addresses in the European theater in the Army. And they came out of class. My daughter was a student at the time. So they looked at my daughter and said, "Your dad's old." Yeah, I'm old. And, you know, social media is something that I have. Most people in the world have some sort of social media footprint. Um, some are more involved in it than others. I have a Facebook and I have a LinkedIn. I also have a Snapchat, but I don't use it too much. So you're probably saying, "Man, he's old. We don't use those no more." Okay, fine. But before Facebook, there was I can't even remember what it's called now, but everybody was getting on that. I never got on that. I liked Facebook much more when it was strictly academics. At one time, you had to have an edu email to get a Facebook account, and I like the limited aspect of it. I mean, everybody that's my friend on Facebook, I physically know. On LinkedIn, there's thousand something people I'm connected with on LinkedIn, and I don't know all of them. I prefer to know the people that I'm dealing with. Some people, you know, I would friend some of my cousins or in Illinois or my wife's family. And next thing you know, they would be sending friend requests to all my friends because they were trying to get more friends. I don't look at it that way. To me, it's more of a intimate thing. If I know you, great. If I don't know you, then I'm not going to add you. And that's just the way I am on there. That's my identity on it. Many people form their identity from their social media persona. You know, how many friends do I have? How many people are following me? How many likes did I get on this thing? And that's part of culture nowadays. It's not something I necessarily understand, but a lot of people that's their world. Unfortunately, it makes cyberbullying much easier. You know, when I hate to keep referring to when I was young, but when I was young, a bully picked on me in school, or I picked on somebody in school. I'm not going to say I was an angel, but you know, it was you could get away from it. You can't get away from cyberbullying if unless you completely unplug, and it's actually destroyed many people's lives. So what we need to do is worry about enriching ourselves, making ourselves better, commit to personal growth. Now, there's something called a Johari window. The book talks about it. And in my speaker's notes, there is a web link to the Johari window. And basically, it's like there's four window panes, and one of them is open. That's what I know about myself and what others know about me. There's hidden, which is I know about myself, but others don't know about me. There's blind, which is things that I don't know about myself, but others see. And there's unknown, which is unknown to me and unknown to other people. So on this link, I'd like you to go on there, and I'm going to have I'm going to set up my Johari window if it lets me do it again. But I'll have the link on here, and you can go on there and you can say things about me. Most of you know very little about me. Most of you have just met me this semester. But what do you see? And well, I'll take a look at it and find out your impression of me. Now, the thing about it is, you need to be careful and self-disclose when it's appropriate. That's something I mentioned in the my group com class. Is that when you're in a group, um, you're going to self-disclose, but you need to be careful about what you self-disclose. Unfortunately, our group should follow the rule that what happens in a group stays in a group, much like the old commercial about Las Vegas used to be. Because if I disclose something to y'all, I'm talking to you, and it's between us. You don't have any right to go share it with anybody else. So be careful about your self-disclosure. Now, the benefits about the Johari window is you'll learn about yourself. You'll learn about what other people see and what other people think. It can actually be therapeutic. You can get affirmation. Yeah, I thought I was a nice guy. Most people said I'm a nice guy. That's pretty cool. Excuse me. Ethically, you can find out what other people think about you in an ethical manner. So, man, I didn't realize most people thought I was a real butthead. I never thought I was that mean. And it can be reciprocal. I can, if you do a Johari on me, I can do one on you, and you can see what I have to feel about it. Now, there's risks involved with it. Rejection is one of the greatest ones. Maybe nobody wants to do it, or you thought that these people were your friends, but you find out they're not. And whatever you post can be held against you. You have to be careful about that. And ethically, you have to make sure that you're careful not to cause others pain. I teach a class on, I taught a class on gender communication, and I took one on couples comm, and that's where I learned this. A professor once said, should you be 100% honest in a relationship? And I said, no. And there's a whole bunch of people in the class that said, yeah. If he's cheating on me, it's like, no. If my wife really worked hard to fix my favorite meal, and my mom does it better, should I be 100% honest and say, yeah, it was okay, but mom does it better? No, I shouldn't. And I shouldn't be that way because it's going to cause her pain. So when you try to improve yourself, set realistic goals. I want to become a better listener. I want to become a better talker. I want to become more empathetic. I want to become a better partner in my relationship. Set realistic goals. Don't say I'm going to be perfect, because nobody is. Remember that getting better is a process. It's like losing weight or any other thing that you do. You're not going to be great at it when you start, but you're going to find ways to get better. I couldn't run a 7-minute mile when I first started running, but at one point in my life, I could run a 7-minute mile. So remember, it's a process. It's not going to happen overnight. And find the right environment. If you want to improve communication with yourself and your significant other, you need to find the right environment. Don't do it when you both get off work and you got 1,000 things going on around the house. If you got kids, you got kids, and their meals and homework and housework, and you need to find the right environment to do it. On the other hand, don't wait till 2 o'clock in the morning. I used to hate that. My wife would say, "We need to talk." I'm tired. I want to go to sleep. Why didn't you tell me this at 10 o'clock? Well, no, we need to talk. If you don't have the right environment, then you're not going to get both the people involved, and you won't have the quality discussion you could have. And don't say, you're wrong. Say, when you do this, it hurts me. That's much better than saying, you're an idiot for doing so and so. When you attack somebody personally, they put walls up. Avoid negative self-talk as well. Don't say I can't do this. Don't say, and I use this a lot in my public speaking class. When I tell them, when I was young, we had pep rallies in school, and from what I understand, y'all still do. And you never started a pep rally with, they're going to kick our tail. We're going to lose. No, you don't. We're going to win. We're going to do this. So do the same thing in the self-talk to you. When you're talking to yourself, don't say, I can't do this. This is what's going to happen. It's going to be bad. You have to be positive and look at the positive side of things if you want to improve stuff. So that's my take on chapter 2. I will post my speaker's notes. I will post the text PowerPoints. And I will post a discussion for us to talk about. I'm looking forward to hearing what y'all have to say about these things. And I will read them and I'll comment on some if I have a chance. I'm teaching, 3 different classes online. It's kind of hard to comment on everybody's without being continually working. But don't think that I don't read them, because I read everybody's. Y'all have a good day. I will see you in chapter 3. Oh, as a reminder, make sure that you do the discussions. It's part of your grade. You have to post something in a timely manner so others can post on yours and you can post on others. I hope this helps, and I will see you in chapter 3. If you need me anytime, call me. My phone number's in the syllabus. Email me, and we'll talk and make sure you understand stuff. Have a great day.